Good morning, Ryan, Jessica, Dow, and Tiffany. Um, I really enjoyed being with you yesterday. Watching you engage that particular task was a pleasure to me. I don't know what it was to you, but it was a pleasure to me. I do hope that the process we went through in class has been a source of good or at least important memories for you. I think one of the most interesting results of this practice of remembering is seen in the English word itself if we divide it up. To remember. To remember. That is to put things back together. Memories are so powerful, even if we don't remember them. I know that doesn't make sense, but think about it. Our formation as humans and as Christians often takes place in circumstances and times and places, and we're not aware of how important those places and circumstances and events are when they happen, yet they can be some of the most powerful formational events of our lives, and we don't remember them unless we're intentional about it. I talked yesterday about a really impactful event in my life, in our lives, my wife's and my life, one that changes our lives forever. And there's no question about its power in our lives for better and worse. Yet there are so many other that we seem to forget, or perhaps would even like to forget. These two, without remembering them, can bring about deep change even as we wonder, why? Where did that come from? I remember a time in a class on Shakespeare as an undergraduate at Warner Pacific College. We were studying Shakespeare's Merchant of Venice. If you know the play, you know that it revolves around the problem of a Jew and a Christian and a loan of money. It's not an easy play to read or to watch or to perform. In the process of talking about this struggle of what's going on in the play over usury and privilege and power, I said something about making a distinction between Jews and white people. Yeah, I said that. Thank God I heard myself say that. It didn't just go by as if it was normal. My prof said to me, "What did you say?" I said, "Yeah. What did I say? And where did that come from?" Those are two really important questions. What did I say? And where did that come from? It's a long story, and it took me weeks to remember. It took some serious me remembering that took me all the way back to my childhood home. Our dining table, and my father, with all seriousness and intent to be helpful, was advising a guest about how to Jew people, how to Jewish people. It was a common expression of the time. I grew up with it. Oh, you just have to Jew them down. But it is only the surface of a deep anti-Semitism that not only infected my family and my upbringing there, but also my upbringing in the church, because Jews, were once a time, and maybe are still somewhere, called Christ killers, which is, of course, a deep misunderstanding of the biblical text, but it was what it was. This was only the beginning of a long and in some ways still ongoing journey in my life to eradicate a deeply embedded, a formed racism from my life. The origins of that racism were in my family, and of course, deeply embedded in me in a very liberal Southern California culture, but reinforced by my church. I hope and pray that as you continue to reflect, that is, remember, your own life journeys, that you do so humbly and with prayer. God is at work in us all the time. God is especially at work, I believe, as we intentionally remember. The Hebrew word for remember, pardon my lack of skill at this in Hebrew, is zuhel. It occurs over and over again in the Old Testament. It is a key word in God's word to God's people. God is constantly calling God's people back to their roots, back to God's self and the people God called them to be. A hard task, to be sure, but essential. Before signing off this morning, I want to call your attention to just a few things. One, I've posted the guide for your post-text reading reflections. It's titled Post-Reading Reflection Questions. Please make use of those for notes. You don't have to write extensive answers to those questions, and I'm not going to collect them, but I really encourage you to make notes on them to assist in our conversation about those books on Monday. We will focus on the reading for each week using the questions on that page. Second, I have posted the entire life, calling, and ministry map questions on Canvas. You don't need to do more than what we've done in class, except, of course, to bring your visual metaphorical representation to class next Monday. I also posted the one I shared with you in class. If I ever find the photo of the last life map I did, I'll post that as well. But bring that visual metaphor with you and be prepared to help us understand it some. Third, I posted the PowerPoint for last Monday, which includes the suggestions for your journaling. I hope that the questions I listed there in the last bullet will be helpful to you as you proceed. Fourth, as I said in class, I've changed the readings for Monday. Just in case you didn't get those down, here they are. There are 3 essays out of the, I think, 6 that are in that chapter. I want you to read the essays that begin on page 51, on page 121, and on page 157. Fifth, I have coffee hours on campus on Tuesday and Thursday each week from 1:30-ish, sometimes I'm earlier, to 2:15-ish. My office is Mocha Joe's, my kind of office. If you want to chat, please stop by. I may be working on something, but feel free to interrupt. I may be talking with someone, so you shouldn't interrupt more than to let me know that you are there. And I'm always open to questions about anything in class or anything I share in these video chats. I'm really interested in your questions and the issues of your own life and how I might help you in that process. And finally, I've posted a reading a friend sent me. It's a reflection by Richard Rohr entitled Utterly Humbled by Mystery. I think it fits so neatly and wisely into an understanding of living life on journey and open to God's wisdom and God's world and God that you might want to read it. Not a requirement, just an extra. All right? That's all I want to talk about with you today. If you have any questions, feel free to text or email or whatever. I will be on campus today from 1:30-ish, so please feel free to stop by. God's blessings on you and on your journey.